Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at, well, Captain Ginyu at 100% in the hidden potential system. So, in case you're wondering, of course, Captain Ginyu got his EZA recently. We looked at him at 55% because that was my copy, but I thought, hey, I've got a friend who has 100%, let's take a look at that friend lead. So, to cut a long story short, Captain Ginyu is, I think, pretty good. Some people are a bit disappointed in him. I think that's just because they know he needs to be kind of a leading light for the category. I think they also know that Ginyu Force is not a team that's going to get buffs very, very, very easily. So I do understand where they're coming from. Look, I think in terms of utility, there are very few units that do as much as Captain Ginyu. Captain's ace in the hole, Captain Ginyu, is a terrifying conqueror's dynamic saga lead of 170%, with an additional key +1 HP attack and defense of 30% for space traveling warriors category allies. He raises defense, raises attack for 1 turn, and causes immense damage to the enemy, whilst also raising at the same time his defense permanently, which is great. Attack and defense of 200%, launches an additional attack. There's a high chance of becoming a super attack, damage reduction of 20%, and Ginyu Force category allies, key +1, attack and defense of 60%, and 20% crit chance, all of which applies to him. When attacking with 12 or more key, attack and defense of 150%, per Ginyu Force category ally on the team, attack and defense of 20%, up to 100%. This is probably one of my first issues I have. I just wish they had made this like you only need 3 Ginyu Force units or something, because as much as I do like the summonable Ginyu Force units, to basically run a 5 Ginyu Force lineup is just always going to prevent Ginyu from being used on any other active team. When there's another Ginyu Force category ally on the team, attacks are effective against all types and a high chance of launching an additional super. For 1 turn from the character's entry turn, or when HP is 70% or more, he will have an additional 30% crit chance and damage reduction rate of 30%. So basically, he will have 50% damage reduction, 50% crit, and he launches an additional super attack. He also will launch an additional super attack if he has a Ginyu Force ally, all of which is pretty solid. Then, if you take a look at his transformation into Ginyu Goku, this is very, very much probably one of the things I'm most confused about. Ginyu Goku greatly raises attack, which is fine, recovers 59% health, which is great, and key +1 attack and defense of 250%. He launches an additional attack. There's a great chance of becoming a super attack. Attacks are effective against all types, and he gets damage reduction rate of 50%. When attacking, he gets attack of 150% and chance of performing critical hit of 50%, with a great chance of launching an additional super. For those who don't know, when you transform into Ginyu, you are going to lose attack, because you have the additional attack of 100% per Ginyu Force category ally, whereas this Ginyu only has the 150 on super. It is a drop down in attack that has to be gained by the amounts of supers he does, but it takes him like a full turn to even catch up to where he's supposed to be. So it's a very confusing thing for me. Logically, I would like Ginyu to start off at a stronger point than when he transforms. I understand that maybe they are concerned about this, but I don't know, for me it's definitely one of the weirder things. He has 50% crit chance, great chance of launching additional super, so he has 2 additional supers basically with a great chance, and he also has 50% crit, defense of 150%, and evasion of 50%. He also will foresee all attacks if there's a Jace in the team. So the health requirement to transform is a bit of a pain. You have to be 70% obviously to transform, but it's not the end of the world. However, I do find that his drop in attack is very much annoying. I think it's just something very, very annoying with a unit dropping in attack once transformed. And his foreseeing all the enemy's super attacks is also pretty annoying as well. Because the thing is foreseeing the enemy's super is only available if you have a Jace on the team. which means your only viable run with this guy is to use the Jason Berta unit. Now, they're not a bad unit at all, but it's just very annoying, basically, to have such a crucial power. The ability to see super attacks being locked behind another condition. For a unit that already in base form requires almost a full Ginyu Force team, then to transform has a health requirement, then to use his Scouter ability has a unit requirement. Basically, he just feels quite restricted. And I think that's where people are coming from. I think the logic is, if he's so restricted, why is he not super duper OP? I think he's borderline OP. I think he's one of those units where if you added on, for example, one more super, or you added on 20% more crit, or you added on 10%, like 20% more evasion before attacks or something, all of a sudden he becomes borderline, like, insane. I think he's just one of those units that's near perfection, or near that kind of insane level, more so than being a unit that's at that insane level. For me, obviously, I do think he is pretty good. I like him. I think he services the Ginyu Force team really, really well. The thing is I do think you need the summoning. I do think you need the summonable banner units. I think if you don't have the banner units, I just don't see Ginyu being nearly as effective as I probably like. I don't really see him being a super duper top tier unit if you're not running him on that Ginyu Force team, because then the base form is so weak. Yes, you don't need Ginyu Force units technically outside of Jace for the transform state, but I do think that I would have liked them to just make him a teeny tiny bit better for me. At least less team restrictions, because I think running 2 or 3 Ginyu Force units on like a Terrifying Conquerors or a Planet Namek Saga or a Signature Pose or whatever team that is, I think is more than easy. Like, I think it's very accessible, very easy. But then when you don't want to do that, then I think you let Ginyu down. And that's ultimately the thing for me. I just don't think Ginyu needs to be let down like that. That's just my thing. But overall, still great. I mean, look, takes him a turn or two, but he can consistently fire off 3 or 4 super attacks of 30 mil, 35 mil, 34 mil, 32 mil. He's got a heal, he's got a Scouter ability, damage reduction, evasion, stacks defense at a very good rate, especially at a rainbow level. You can get him into the millions quite quickly. Couple that with his 50% damage reduction, his evasion, his everything like that. He is really quite good from that perspective. So, I do think there is definitely a really good, solid unit here. Like, I don't have a distinct problem with him or anything really. I just think that he's maybe a tad too restricted for what players were wanting, and ultimately I think what he could have been. All in all though, I think he is very, very good. I think a lot of players will enjoy using him. I think his banner unit EZAs were very good, and we'll look at those in a separate video because they are very, very solid. And I think, the Ginyu Force team is in a good space. Still probably needs a unit, because the 2 free-to-play LRs, no matter how many buffs you give the team, are aging. Maybe they'll get super easy A's as free-to-plays. Who knows? That would be really, really cool, and would be pretty impressive, and would help the team a ton. But I think, it probably needs one more really good Ginyu Force unit to really make the team shine, but we'll just have to see. But for me, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching. Bye.